Got to see all 10 episodes of Shogun. Was it worth the watch? Let's find out right now. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel and spending time with me as I rant about movies, comic books, and television shows. I am your host, Frank Zanker, an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a working line producer. And that's about to be true again, even after all these strikes. And the other one on its way. I'm actually heading out to LA on Wednesday, which is Saturday right now, so in a few days. And I'll be gone for a month. So my channel will suffer, but then when I come back, I'll just be back for just a week, and I think I have I haven't signed my contract on that one yet, but I have another series in June, so I may be gone for 2 months back to back. So we'll see what happens, but just so you know, that's I will try to do some videos from set just to keep content coming, because I'm not going to be able to keep up this daily thing. Of course, I'm not even going to have my rig in LA or anything like that. So I probably will be going dark for a little bit. But I'll try at least put some videos up, shorts and things to that effect. I want to be able to pick up my comics or anything. So, and definitely won't be able to watch TV. I mean, I think we're working 6 to 8 weeks. So on my one day off, I won't be doing much. And then if you are fans of classic monsters or card games, we are releasing Myth Lords while I'm gone. That's at the tail end of the movie, so I'll be releasing on the 20th on Backer Kit. The description below has the link if you want to be notified when this thing launches. But we have classic monster art by Mark Spears, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome. But we'll talk about that more at the end. But let's jump into Shogun real quick. And so Shogun is from a 1975 book that in 1980 spawned a miniseries for television with Richard Chamberlain. And I did watch that when it was on, and it was definitely different. I think it was pretty much ahead of its time back then, because for television to show head choppings and things to that effect, that was pretty much unheard of. And so as a child, when I was watching this, I was like, he just cut his head off. So I haven't seen it since the 80s. So it's not like I did a refresher or anything to that effect. There is some stuff that stuck in my head, and of course there are other stuff and I never read the book. So again, there are some things that I just held in my memory throughout all these years, and then there's stuff that I lost. Like, I can't really tell you. All I could tell you was that there was about an English guy that I wouldn't say came up on Japan after being adrift for a while. They finally got to Japan, so they were malnourished, etc., and they became prisoners, and they didn't treat them very well. But the one character ended up being the confidant of one of the main guys, and that's all I can really tell you about the beginning. And then I remember the ending, where the boats were being burned continuously to keep him there. That's all I could remember. So for us to jump in here and because I think that was only like 3 episodes or something like that. So for this to be 10 hours, they definitely elongated it. They definitely delved into the lore more and things to that effect. Now, the showrunners on this are Rachel Kondo and Justin Marks. Now, Rachel Kondo has no credits. I mean, nothing. This is the only one. So she was definitely not the purveyor of getting this on the air. However, somehow she hooked up with Justin Marks, and I don't know what their relationship is, but Justin Marks is the writer of Top Gun Maverick. There's nothing else to say. He has some other credits as well, but Top Gun Maverick. So when he opens his mouth, people are going to listen. So he was able probably to walk this right into Hulu, which at the time when this was created, it was not owned solely by Disney. But anyway, they gave them obviously a hefty budget to do this, and I think it was worth it. I think that the set pieces are amazing. I think the acting is very, very good. And the costume work on it is exquisite. Everything looks, all the armor and everything else looks like its period. This takes place in, I think, 1590. So they're seeing cannons and stuff like that for the first time. So we were basically in feudal Japan, and the storyline is that the daimyo died, and he was basically like the emperor of Japan, died, and the only heir that he had was he's a young boy at this time, so he's not of age where he can take over control of the entire country. So now you have a power vacuum, and when that happens, then all of your aristocrats and everything like that end up vying for power, which is what happens here. So the main guy that Blackthorn, and his name is Anji for the whole thing because that's his title. But Hiroyuki Sanada, who's been like in everything, he was just in John Wick. He plays Yoshi Toranaga, and Toranaga is the driving force of this entire series. So he's the one that's manipulating everything. And this guy has so many credits. I mean, it's phenomenal. He has 114 credits. The guy never stops working. So John Wick 4, he just did Bullet Train, Army of Dead, Mortal Kombat. That's right, I forgot that he was in Mortal Kombat. Westworld, Avengers Endgame. Oh my God, they just keep going. Helix, I forgot about Helix. He was in Mr. Holmes, 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves. I forgot that they had done a movie together in the past. The Wolverine, forgot about that one. Revenge, Lost, Speed Racer, Rush Hour 3. The guy's getting everything. He's kind of like a Samuel L. Jackson. The Last Samurai. Oh yeah, so he's worked. That's right. He's worked with him as well. And The Ring 2. He was also in the original Ringu. And I think of everything else he did in the 90s, I think was all in Japan. Yeah, made in Japan. Succession. A lot of it was Asian. So, I mean, the guy is, and he's even done some commercials, like some car commercials and stuff like that. The guy is an incredible talent, and it's good for him that he keeps working because that kind of talent should be working. However, I like what they did with Warrior better than what they did here, where the camera revolved around and when they went from speaking Chinese to speaking English. Here, we're reading Japanese subtitles throughout the entire series. And I know what they were going for, but I felt like I was almost watching a foreign piece. So I would have preferred them speaking English and knowing they were speaking Japanese. And on top of that, even the English that's being spoken is really Portuguese. That's really the language that they're speaking, because Blackthorn is there to wipe out the Christians, basically, because they're Protestant. At that point in time, England was Protestant. And also, the big standout here is Anna Sawai. She was amazing. If you watch this for no other reason besides like the sets and the things, everything else, her portrayal of Mariko, if this isn't a breakout role for her, I don't know what would be, because I mean, she knocked this out of the park. She's one of the only characters that actually speaks English throughout the thing, and her quiet sense of embodying this character is, I can't describe it to you. You've got to see it. So she was obviously well known also for the Fast and the Furious, but it doesn't even seem like the same person. When I looked it up and I saw that she was the same person from Fast and the Furious, he plays Han's daughter in Fast 9. What a difference in the two roles. It goes to show you her range. Amazing. She was in Ninja Assassin back in 2009. I'll have to look that up because I've seen that a couple of times now. And she was recently in Monarch Legacy of Monsters. But she only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She only has 7 credits. And she is a standout in this show. Absolutely worth watching just for her performance. Really great. And then, her husband is abusive and she thinks he's dead. And we have a relation with her and Blackthorn. And now when I compare Richard Chamberlain's performance to this guy, Cosmo Jarvis, there really is no comparison. Of all the people that I feel are miscast, it's him. And that's because this character has to have a little bit more charisma. And I keep using the word gravitas, but he just doesn't have it. He kind of fades into the background, which this character should never do. He hasn't really done much of note. Like, he was in Peaky Blinders for 3 episodes. He was in Raised by Wolves for 3 episodes. He was in Hunter Killer and just played a background character. He was in Annihilation. I guess he was Special Ops Soldier, uncredited, in 2018. So he's got 26 credits, and they're all kind of low. He did one of those in 2020 is a short named Fog. So of all the characters, I think he is the biggest letdown. Because though his character is likable, I don't say he did a bad job, but I think that somebody else could have done a better job. And he didn't really suck me into the scenes like Anna Sawai did, or how Sonata did. Those guys were able to suck me into their roles by even not speaking. Just their intensity and things to that effect bring out the scene where we see the intensity. We see that life to them is not the same viewpoint as we have in the West, and they're willing to give their lives up for their country at a snap of the fingers. And we see how Toranaga is kind of playing this 3D chess going on, because his life is in danger. They know that of all the people to become shogun, which again would be the military leader and the overall leader until the rightful heir became of age. So they all see him as a threat to becoming this leader. So instead, they are voting on to assassinate him and to kill him. To the point where he has to basically give his life up. And instead, he's trying to create division between them so they can't make that vote. In the meantime, he's also using Blackthorn to create this diversion they're like, why is he hanging with this barbarian? They call him a barbarian because he when he first gets there, he eats differently, he sleeps differently, and all this other stuff. So they don't really understand him, and he doesn't really understand them. So we have this basically a back and forth of a fish out of water at the same time as they're trying to figure him out. And he sees the consequences of him trying to bring the West to Japan. And he doesn't, even towards the end, he only speaks the language to a certain degree. He doesn't speak it fluently. But there are some times where I'm like, why does he really need a translator? He does get it by the end, but he still needs a translator, which I thought was kind of strange. But his whole thing is that he wants to be back on his ship. He wants to be back out in sea, and that doesn't really ever happen for him. Instead, he's kind of adopted as basically a plaything, as far as I'm concerned. He's a plaything that has certain knowledge that they can use. But as far as now, some people brought up the fact that you're basically thrust into the beginning of this, where at the end, I'm not going to really go through any kind of spoilers, but at the end you do see him older, and he's talking to children. Now, I don't know if that was because they say grandpa. So I don't know if he ever does leave the island, apparently, or this is in his mind. I can't tell. So if anybody has watched it and they can tell me if they've read the book, if does he actually leave the island, and if so, is that not in his mind, if that's real, or if he just never does and that's just in his head. I almost prefer it being bookended with those two things where we see him older in the beginning and he's kind of telling the story. The other thing is that this whole thing revolves around a war, right? The whole thing revolves around a big battle that never happens. It happens, but we never see it. So it's only told to us by Toranaga that this is going to happen, and here is how it's going to end, etc. But we never see it. And that was probably for budgetary purposes. They probably just couldn't do it. And I don't know, again, tell me if anybody's read the book, if we actually see that battle in the book, or is it just kind of told? This is what he's predicting. So anyway, that's it from me. But I also love they also have ninja in here, and shinobi and all these other things. These Japanese assassins. So we get to see a lot of that stuff. I really liked it. I just had a few problems with it. Again, him showing him older without bookmarking it, because people did feel like they were thrust in the beginning, and maybe the beginnings need to be just a little bit more gradual by just adding a couple of scenes in. But for all I know, it was staying truthful to the book. I don't know. I can't tell you. But it definitely shows how feudal Japan was, and we're seeing it from the point of view of somebody that was not from that world. And again, just seeing some of the performances, especially Anna Sawai's performance, and she can't be more than like 5'1", man. It's crazy. And they actually have her with a little fight scene and stuff like that. It's amazing. But the sets, the costumes, all this stuff it's worth watching just from all that. And it will suck you in eventually. Even if you don't like the first episode, I would continue watching it because it will eventually suck you in. And again, Cosmo's performance was decent, but not great. Not in comparison to his Asian counterparts, I'll tell you that. All right, so that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. On a scale from 1 to 10, I would basically call this an 8. This is definitely an 8. It's not. I still think that Warrior is higher, because for me, for Warrior, I think it's a 9 or even a 9.5 for me, where this is an 8. It's not a thing I'll ever watch again, but especially when you're doing a lot of reading, which is also one of my problems with it. It didn't need to have that much reading. You could have gotten away with it. All those actors speak English, all of them. So anyway, remember to give me a like and a subscribe. Give me that thumbs up, ring that bell, ding, ding, and get notified when I have additional videos coming up. Again, any videos I'm going to be doing after Wednesday, which would basically be the beginning of May, I will just be doing stuff from set because I won't have time to even go to the movies to see anything, which is going to be sad because I know that Emily Blunt's movie comes out. I think that Planet of the Apes comes out. And we're only going to have one day off. I might be able to sneak to the theater, but I won't be able to do a review. I'll just be able to do a quick, 1-minute review like I normally do. And remember, the description below has the link for Myth Lords, Classic Monsters, with art by Mark Spears. He does comic book cover art. He just did a one for Near Before Zod. He's also done Spawn and Power Rangers and a pile of others. And the artwork in here is great, and the play is fun as well. It plays 1 to 5 players, so you can actually play by yourself as well. You get to play as Dracula and Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Deep, etc. And then we also have a expansion for Dark Wizard of Oz. We'll be able to play as Dorothy, and there's even Toto in it, on the witches from all the different orthogonal things. We're northeast, southwest, the whole bit. Tin Man, Cowardly Lion, they're all in here. It's pretty amazing. So it's lots of fun. Anyway, check out the link below and get notified, because people that sign up within the first 36 hours when we pledge, when we do launch on the 20th, get an exclusive card that won't be available anywhere else. All right, thanks again for watching. Check out some other videos as well at the end here, and I will see you guys on the next one. Have an awesome week. Bye-bye.